This is my new to me 1963 AMC Rambler. I picked it up about an hour north of Detroit. It's been sitting in a barn for about 30 years. This is just the first evaluation cleanup and kind of trying to decide what direction I want to go with it. So here's the interior of my new to me 63 AMC Rambler 550. It's definitely going to need some help. I gotta get the seats and stuff out, put them on a cart, get them in the house, or I should say get them in the garage. I'm gonna mask up. It is super windy, so I'll try to film it. I might not be able to. I've got to get raccoon poop and other random crap out of the interior first, and then I'll be washing the exterior probably tomorrow. But it is apart. That's too bad. Corner gauge. Z-bar. Well, hopefully nothing comes out and tries to eat my face. That is packed. Cap. Good thing there is no smell-o-vision. Holy yuck. Man alive, that is strong. Well, stage one of delousing the Rambler's done. There's a lot more parts in the back. We'll get to that tomorrow. And vacuum this out tomorrow. And I'm gonna try Purple Power. See if I can get some of the junk out of the paint. It's definitely, it's good there. It's gonna be a fun car. So we've got a lot of loose parts and pieces, and we'll start cleaning it out. Yeah, 2 halves of what's left of the fan shroud. I get the feeling this radiator wasn't supposed to be canted. The cap and rotor assembly for the old 283 or 287 is in here. Cowl panel. That's good. I need that. 4-way lug wrench. The pedals to convert it back to a manual. The previous owner was in the process of trying to put a 360 Mopar and an auto in it. I think he's going to make a drag car. But that was a very, very long time ago. This thing's been sitting for at least 30 years. Sweet, the jack. Cross member. An old pair of jeans. What's left of an old pair of jeans. Hey, more poop. Bolts. Not sure if these are fuel or transmission lines. Appear to be headlight buckets. Stock exhaust pipes. A box of degrading ram hardware. Guess I'll pick that up later. Quite a few wiper arm assemblies. Junk fan belts. That's about it. I'm gonna pull that spare. Collect the poop and vacuum. Trunk floor has a couple holes, fairly small. I'm likely going to need to replace this entire rear quarter, at least part of it, but we'll see when I clean it up more. I'm going to vacuum all the crud out of the cowl panel area. I got plans, but first thing we gotta do is clean it out. Surprised more of the mice didn't take that for bedding. Close the hood and start on the body. It's gonna need a real good scrub and try to get some more of that junk off and some of the surface rust. Very, very little oil or gum residue. I should say gummy residue. Huge difference. Powered everything I could reach. It took about forever, but it is definitely much better. Give it a foam cannon bath, and I think we're done for today. We're gonna put the grill and the bumper on. That side locked in. And take the outer headlight bucket trim off so that I can squeeze it up in there. I don't doubt this thing has been floating around off the car for longer than probably a lot of the people watching this have been alive. It's going to take some tweaking. This is not permanent until I get damage from my garage. See too much of this. Sorry about that. Do that to the other side. Tighten up the center, and then we'll grab the bumper. have to adjust the brackets after all. There are 4 bolts for the front bumper, 2 on either side. This is the outside passenger side. It's the inner passenger side. The driver's side inner by the frame rail, and the driver's side outer. You can adjust the position of the bumper with these brackets. I also gave the bumper bolts a light coating of anti-seize because they were a little crusty. I'm going to take them back off at some point. They're a carriage style bolt on the outside, and then these, at least with this vehicle, they are retained with a rubber grommet and washer setup. They can be fun though because they have a square head, so a lot of people do shave them off, and it's one way to go. But with this one, I'm not that worried about it. Oh yeah, anti-seize gets everywhere, so use it sparingly and watch what you're using to put it on with, because you're going to be covered in it. That looks much better. So I'm cleaning off the header panel, and this side was just as bad with the blue pin as that side. So it's magic eraser time. That empty space in the middle there is where the wiper motor goes. Should have been a vacuum operated, I believe, with this era. I'm looking into getting electrically operated just so I don't really have to rely on engine vacuum to run my wipers. I'm only putting 4 screws in at this time. These don't even want to tighten. Let's try this one more time. The hole might be blown out, so I'll have to use a different size screw or repair that hole. Likely just gonna have to repair it. Doesn't want to go in, doesn't want to come out. See how this one does. I'm also going to have to repair these areas in both sides of the car. Not a lot of clearance over here. So this gives me a baseline. See how everything fits. Watch the hood and see what she does. Yeah, we got a gap. The hood stands up above the fenders right now anyway. Yeah, I don't want to break anything. There we go. With the bumper, the grill, and now the cowl on. Looking a lot better. Now we're going to see where we're at with the brakes. Start seeing what shape the brakes are in. They are free, at least 3 to 4. This is actually a Ford 8-inch from a Mustang with a very interesting track bar setup. I'll end up replacing everything, but it came off and it's free. This driver front brake is frozen. We'll pop the grease cap, pull the bearings, and see where we're at. This cap was not on very tight. Hoping that this is not frozen. We'll see in a couple minutes. I should say I'm hoping the bearings are not frozen. I'd like to end up doing, it's loose. I'd like to end up doing a disc brake conversion. This car actually does have power assisted brakes, which is nice. Bearing's actually free, so hopefully the inner's not completely destroyed. Couple love taps, see where she's at. Worst case, I'll have to get a puller. Hopefully that'll work. I'm going to see what I can do about loosening the back. The star adjuster for the drums, for the shoes, is destroyed. I've already tried it. So I'll see if I can get to anything in the back. I'm going to try to grind the heads of the retaining pin off, which might free the shoes. Round the head off, attempt to knock it through. If we're lucky, it'll help us get it off. If we're not, I'll just have to get a puller. See if we can pull it off. So what is likely the problem now is that our wheel cylinder is hanging up. So I'm going to lightly pry around it. I don't want to take it apart if I don't have to. These are the back side of the retainers that I cut off. It did help quite a bit. Another thing I saw on Junkyard Digs. I'm gonna pull this because I don't need the brakes. I just need the wheel to be free. You can get these off with just about anything, but I do like to try and at least use the right tool for it. Problem, there we go. Spring's too small. There's the right way, and then there's to just get it done way sometimes. There's our strangely disassembled front hub and brake assembly. Throw this back on so it can be a roller. There's always a key. You can see it through the grease. So if you ever have trouble putting this on, that's why there's a keyway. Yeah, definitely replace it. This should get me through now, which is the main point of all this stupidity. So I figured I would try and demonstrate how to use a brake spoon. These do rotate. This is the right front drum. This little booger is called a brake spoon. You can do it with other things like a screwdriver. These are made for it. On your drums, there's going to be a small slit like that. It's normally going to be plugged with a piece of rubber, but this is long gone. Stick them in, and you'll feel drag. You hear that clicking. It's rolling a little easier. Yeah, there's definitely a hard spot from this thing sitting as long as it has. Keep going because I don't want to have to pull this drum off if I don't have to. It's going to be sitting like this for quite a while. I just want it to be free so it doesn't become a problem later when I do go to replace and repair things. Right now the goal is only to get it rolling. So I'm going to leave it. I don't mind a little bit of drag. It'll keep it from rolling when it's sitting there and just sitting as basically a lawn ornament. I took the old wheels and cleaned them up, gave them a fresh coat of bright blue paint, got some tires from the junkyard, and now they're going on the AMC because this is pretty much what it came with. These two and that polyglass in the back, that's the spare. Can't really roll around with flat tires. Got a set of new lug nuts from O'Reilly's, mostly because what was on here was pretty bad and random, and there weren't enough of them. Good thing is when I replace the drum with either another drum or a disc, the studs are in the front drum, so they will be new, which will be nice. That one's going to be a fun one. I'm going to run a die over these. The other side was fine. Yeah, the front one wasn't bad, it's just this side seems to be kind of a pain. I'm going to die over these and throw the wheel back on. I don't want to ruin my new lug nuts, and I don't want to ruin the axle shaft. Hopefully you can see it. It's a half 20, and especially with these dies, but with a lot of them, they actually say start from the other side. Your start is straight. Now, for some reason, I don't have a 1-inch socket. A lot bigger and a hell of a lot smaller. For some reason I either can't find it or just don't simply have it. If you feel a lot of resistance, you're going to want to make sure everything's square to the stud. And I just want to gently run it down, so all you're doing is chasing the threads. And every so often, you want to back it up and let any of the junk that's trapped inside of it back itself off and free. That's why these holes are in it. You're not trying to put a lot of leverage, you're just simply trying to turn it. Could have taken the drum off to do this, but I'm using the drum to help me stabilize the setup. It's also a good gauge of how far the die actually needs to go down on the stud. The more resistance you feel, the more you want to back up the die and let the chips or any dirt and junk fall out of it, so you're not pushing them into the cutting teeth or into the threads of the stud. I'm probably going a little farther than I need to, but I'd rather do that than have to do this again. Once you get the tension off, it should rotate freely back off of the stud. There we go. You want to clean these out each time you use them. You also want to hit them with some kind of lubricant. You also want to clean off the studs after you're done. I'm going to hit it all down with brake clean. And worst case, use a little brush. Well, now that we have run the die over it, cleaned it all up, let's attempt to throw the wheel back on. Everything should go smooth this time. Well, she's on the ground, the wheels are torqued. I think it looks pretty good. We're gonna put our freshly cleaned poverty caps on. That's all there is to it. Figured I would show you the interesting home-built rear ladder bar suspension setup. So that's the front wheel. That's the front connection for the ladder bars that the guy made. They're 7 feet long. This car originally had a torque tube style rear axle, so that the tube, the drive shaft, was internal to a tube that ran from the transmission back, and it was part of the suspension. So this was his fix. He said it didn't quite work like he wanted it to. So I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna mess with that or change it. Maybe do a much shorter arm or convert it to a 4-link or what. I'm gonna see what's available and maybe actually convert some Jeep parts out of this. That is one crazy long arm. Oh, she looks much nicer with the wheels and the caps and everything else on it. It's probably where we're gonna stop with this for a little bit. I got it rolling so I can move it over and get other projects moving forward. This is one of the 2 carts I have full of Rambler parts. This also has a 4.2 liter from an 87 Jeep YJ and the AX15 Trans from my Comanche. Those 2 are likely going to be the powertrain, at least that's what my plan is now. This is the other cart of Rambler parts that I have. It's mostly the seats and some of the interior bits. I'm going to use the old half a polyglass tire as a wall hanger. I'm going to find a wheel for it because the tire's in pretty good shape. It's just not roadworthy. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this interior stuff just yet. I think I'll probably have it recovered. I might use the Comanche seat I took out as temporary seat, depending on how far I go. I kind of want to get this ready for Power Tour next year, but might not be in the cards. We'll have to see. I think this is going to be a fun long-term project for me. I really appreciate everybody liking, watching the videos, subscribing. I've had a lot of great growth in a very short amount of time, at least in my opinion. Thank you all very much.